K-Pop Demon Hunters broke a critical design rule. Almost every cartoon tells its cast apart with color. You got red, green, and blue, but one hidden decision is what made their characters unforgettable. I design characters for a living, and I've worked on Fortnite, Star Wars, and MrBeast. And I couldn't ignore this one, because it nailed something that most studios are too afraid to try. The directors told the team, we're not Power Rangers, meaning no signature colors. Yet the characters got easier to tell apart, not harder. So I'm breaking down the 3 choices that made it work. And by the end, I'll demonstrate how to apply all 3 to make your own characters iconic. So if color's gone, how are the girls still instantly readable?
Who else can get a sleeping bag to the Met Gala?
The easy way is different colors. But K-Pop Demon Hunters threw that out, knowing they wanted Huntrix in varied styles and costumes. Now I know what you're thinking. Rumi's hair is purple, Mira's is red. That is color coding. However, notice that their outfits don't lock to those colors like a Power Rangers suit. And because they chose not to lean on color, they needed another way to tell them apart. So watch what happens when I take the color away. You can still tell exactly who's who. And that's not luck, because each girl is built from one basic shape. So look at Rumi. Art director Scott Watanabe wanted her to be composed of squares and rectangles. Notice her eyes, braids, and the boxy cut of her jacket. When rectangles are used in characters, we tend to feel the character is sturdy, reliable, maybe even a bit stubborn. In addition to her squares, we see Rumi's design utilizing multiple layers. It might be a hoodie, gloves, or anything to hide her skin. In her most vulnerable moments, those layers are stripped away to reveal her markings. How those markings utilize color might be the best trick in the film, but more on that in a moment. Rumi's the leader, but deeply self-conscious, and you feel it before she ever speaks. Zoey, on the other hand, helps round out Rumi's edges. Being the baby of the group, she is composed of circles, round face, round buns, and round eyes. Soft, bouncy forms that read as youthful and fun. With her poses, even her energy sits in her legs, like she might spring at any moment. Those round shapes are used to make a character cute, friendly, and innocent. However, her design contrasts quite a bit with Mira. Mira has lanky, lean lines, while her shapes are pointed, sharp, and triangular. These shapes make her feel graceful but edgy. Because triangles have a natural direction, they draw the eye and are great for communicating unpredictability, cunning, and dynamism. So here's the lesson that will reframe how you draw characters. Color is just secondary. Shape is key. Beginners start with color because it's the easy lever. But if a character only works in full color, it doesn't really work. Build the difference into the forms, and it'll read in a silhouette or at a distance. That's the first secret. Remember it because we'll use it at the end. But shape only makes a character recognizable. Making them feel like a real person often comes down to something small. Something you probably didn't even notice. Look at Mira. Mira seems cold and heartless, but one tiny detail you miss proves she's the most loving one in the group. With her angled features and serious complexion, Mira is the rebellious black sheep of the group. But look at the little charm hanging off her belt. It's called a norige. Hers is a vibrant pink and has a big heart on it. And notice the 2 tiny charms shaped like Rumi and Zoey's heads. She keeps her best friends right on her hip, so she can always have them close. The darkest idol, who presents as if she doesn't care, secretly cares the most. And here's the thing, you don't think you consciously noticed that charm, but your brain did. That's why Mira feels warm even while she's acting cold. Often the details that make a character believable are the ones that argue with your first impression. She's indifferent on the outside, but soft underneath, and that contradiction is what turns a cliche into a believable character. But character depth doesn't come from adding more. You can find it by using your existing detail to contradict the primary idea of your character. And in a moment, I'll show you how to apply it to make a design feel like a real person and nobody else. Now here's the catch, and this took me years to learn. Spotting these choices in a finished movie is easy, but spotting them in your own work while you're still making it, almost impossible. You're too close. Every artist has blind spots they literally can't see on their own. And the fastest way past them is someone who's experienced helping point them out. That's the whole reason I built my Patreon around the system I actually use. Real feedback on your work, and for a few people, one-on-one until you're industry ready. If you're trying to do this for a living, that's the shortcut I wish I'd had. Links below. And speaking of choices you can't see until somebody points them out, there's one in this movie that almost nobody catches. Why does K-Pop Demon Hunters use gold to misdirect the audience? The whole movie waves gold in your face. The golden Han Moon, the song Golden, the golden glow at the Idol Awards. Most of the story presents gold as the key color, but as you likely noticed, the Han Moon at the very end isn't gold, it's iridescent. So why? Well, they actually hid this motif throughout the whole film in tiny pieces, teasing the audience. So here's the trick. They used color to show character development over time. The colors don't say who someone is, they track where the story's at. Look at the early costumes and weapons. They have faint hints of iridescent colors. They're woven in but subtle, and by the end, they dominate the color scheme of the final outfits. You may not consciously pick up on this, but you feel it as the color evolves with the story. Bypassing gold helps the audience to understand the characters have transcended and gone through a moment of integration similar to the Han Moon. But the boldest color choice might actually be the villains. Why are the demons pink instead of red? Every convention says red should have been used. It's the color of hellfire, blood, and danger. Instead, they went with magenta. It started with art director Scott Watanabe painting the demon world a hot pink red, because plain red felt too predictable. And that one painting grew into the color scheme for the demons in the film. Oftentimes familiar but unexpected color choices are the ones you remember, and the most personal one is hiding under Rumi's skin. The artist used subsurface scattering to make her markings sit beneath the surface. They flare up in magenta when she's ashamed and hiding. And at the very end, when she finally accepts herself, the color scheme settles into the same iridescent color as the Han Moon. Her skin and the whole world are shown to fully unite. The artists are once again communicating the story through Rumi's design changes. So lesson 3 is to stop asking, what color is my character? And instead ask, how should this color communicate my character's story? Compare your designs at the beginning of the story to the design at the end. Notice what they each say and how they should differ. And when everyone zigs to an obvious color, try zagging to keep things fresh. So that's the decision, and the 3 choices that came out of it: shape over color, details that contradict, and color as story. And now this is the part I promised. Let's take this character I designed as a student and run all 3 lessons on it. First, take your own character and drop them completely to black. If you can't tell them apart from each other or other characters, that's your first fix. Give each one a shape, a square, a circle, or a triangle that matches who they are, and echo it everywhere, in their face, their hair, their clothes, even the way they stand. Next, find these contradicting details. Ask these questions. Who are they actually? What might they be hiding or trying to share? Give it one small, visible detail, even if it contradicts who they appear to be at first glance. And finally, decide how your character will change by the end of their arc. Maybe they turn evil, maybe they heal. Regardless, figure out where they should land and make sure your colors leave room in the first version to show the change by the end. Ultimately, every one of these comes back to the same idea. Identity emerges best through contrast and shape, not cheap color schemes. So try it out. Run these 3 on a character you've already drawn, and drop the before and after in my Discord. I'll check them out. And that's how K-Pop Demon Hunters rejected the rules to create striking characters. And now you know exactly how to make design choices just like the artists.